Hey everyone, today I'm going to be updating my Godzilla ranking. And aside from adding Godzilla vs. Kong, I have also made a couple other changes, so let's dive right in. Starting off way down at the bottom, my number 36 is Godzilla 1998. Look, as a monster movie, this one's actually decent. CGI holds up pretty well, even if the rendering doesn't, and Zilla's design is pretty cool as an original monster. Also, Jean Reno is fucking great. Unfortunately, this isn't just another monster movie, this is supposed to be a Godzilla movie, and in that regard, it fails in almost every way. The monster design would have worked for an original monster, but it's an insult to Godzilla.
Where'd he go?
Get together, guys. Prepare to fire.
Echo 4, ready. Echo 2, ready.
Fire! I think we got him.
There's a reason Toho bought the rights to it, rebranded it Zilla, and put it in Final Wars just to have the real Godzilla kill it on screen with the greatest of ease. Also, the CGI isn't the worst, but Zilla definitely changes size multiple times in the movie. My score is 1 out of 5. Number 35 is All Monsters Attack, aka Godzilla's Revenge. This movie is the most heavily aimed at children of all the movies in the entire franchise, and it suffers for it. All the monster stuff happens in a kid's daydreams, and a lot of the action is stock footage. The rest of the movie is just the kid getting kidnapped. Oh, and because it's a daydream, baby Godzilla sometimes shrinks down to human size and talks to the kid.
Hi! なんだ、君か。何してんの？友達がいなくてつまんないや。じゃあ僕と同じだ。
It sucks. That being said, at least the monsters are practical, the action is okay, and the movie is trying to send a good message to kids about standing up for yourself. I guess that's something. My score is 1.5 out of 5. Number 34 is Godzilla Raids Again. This was the follow-up to the 1954 classic, and what a disappointment it was. The production was rushed and it shows. The plot is thin and the script feels half-assed. That being said, this is the first appearance of Anguirus, the most underrated kaiju in history, and there's some decent action. My score is 2 out of 5. Number 33 is Ibira, Horror of the Deep. This is a weird one. It was originally supposed to be a King Kong movie, and it shows. Godzilla has many of Kong's traits, including an attraction to the female lead. Mothra's here, and there's some pretty good action, but ultimately this one is pretty forgettable. My score is 2.25 out of 5. Number 32 is Godzilla vs. Hedorah. This is another weird one. It has a very admirable anti-pollution message, but it's so in your face that you'll stop caring by the hour mark, if not sooner. Considering this movie came out in the 70s, I feel like the filmmakers are on acid, because there's a lot of trippy visuals here. Hedorah is a decent enough villain, and there's some cool action. Plus we get Godzilla defying gravity and fucking flying! That's worth 1.5 stars on its own. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Moving on up. Number 31 is Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. Number 30 is Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. And 29 is Godzilla the Planet Eater. I don't have a lot to say about these animated Godzilla movies individually, so I'm just kind of lumping them all together. They're all pretty good movies, but they're not very good Godzilla movies. The animation is beautiful, the plots are solid, the voice acting is pretty great, and the action scenes are pretty good. score for Planet of the Monsters is 2.75 out of 5. My score for City on the Edge of Battle is 2.8 out of 5. My score for The Planet Eater is 2.85 out of 5. Number 28 is Godzilla vs. Megalon. This is another weird one. It was originally supposed to be a Jet Jaguar movie, but the studio wasn't confident in that idea, so they added Godzilla. Too bad he doesn't show up until an hour into the movie. It's geared towards kids, so naturally there's an annoying kid character, and like most of the franchise, it focuses way too much on underdeveloped human characters. Anyway, the final fight is pretty awesome, the music is good, the plot is coherent, so that's something. My score is 2.9 out of 5. Number 27 is Godzilla 2000 Millennium. This is a pretty typical Godzilla flick. Humans are hunting Big G when a new monster appears and they have to work with him to beat it. Credit where it's due, Orga is a solid villain. The action scenes are pretty great, and I love when it tries to swallow Big G, so he just blows its head apart from the inside. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 26 is Son of Godzilla. You know in Bob's Burgers, whenever Bob's family does something embarrassing, and he's just like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Linda, oh my god, I wasn't serious. Oh my god, what did I do? Oh my god. Oh my god.
So that's what Mom means when she says she's going to shuck an oyster.
Oh my god.
That's this movie, but Bob is Godzilla. Watching Big G try to teach his son to be like him is genuinely adorable. There's also a plot with the humans testing out a freeze ray or some shit. I don't remember much of it, but it's interesting enough. New monster Kamacuris is pretty cool. The action is solid, and the ending is honestly kind of sad. My score is 3.1 out of 5. Number 25 is Godzilla Final Wars. This one is apparently a fan favorite, but for me it's just good. My main problem is that it feels like it's simultaneously ripping off The Matrix with the human fight scenes and the X-Men with the whole mutant thing. Also, it's only 125 minutes long, but it feels like half an hour longer. That being said, this movie is a ton of fun. We get more monsters than ever before, literally, and Godzilla wipes the floor with all of them with a little help from Mothra. Best of all, Big G kills Zilla with the greatest of ease. Can you say catharsis, boys and girls? My score is 3.2 out of 5. Number 24 is Terror of Mechagodzilla. This is one where the human drama doesn't do the movie very many favors. It's not that bad. There are some interesting ideas there, and the acting is pretty good, but ultimately it feels half-baked. It doesn't live up to its full potential. Big G and Mecha G don't show up until late in the film, and prior to that, the only interesting stuff is Titanosaurus destroying shit. The final fight is pretty solid, though. My score is 3.3 out of 5. Number 23 is Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. This is yet another weird one. Humans are so desperate to defeat Godzilla that they create a miniature fucking black hole weapon. Seriously, how could anyone think that's a good idea? Anyway, a big-ass dragonfly comes through, lays an egg that's actually a bunch of eggs stuck together, and fucks back off through the portal. The eggs hatch, and all hell breaks loose. The plot is decent enough, the acting is good, and the action is great. There's some very iffy CGI here and there, but it's not awful. My score is 3.35 out of 5. Number 22 is Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. This one is pretty standard, but done well. Space Godzilla is a solid villain, the acting is good, and the action is great. The psychic stuff with Mickey in this timeline is pretty cool. Little Godzilla's here and he's cool too. Mogira is also pretty badass. My score is 3.4 out of 5. Number 21 is Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. This is one of the weirder ones. The time travel was definitely inspired by Back to the Future, and for what it's worth, it makes this movie stand out from the bunch. There are some plot holes involving the time travel, but that's par for the course. The plot is more complicated than usual, but it's not that hard to follow. The action is great, and the acting and musical score are pretty good. My score is 3.45 out of 5. Number 20 is Godzilla vs. Mothra. This is another interesting one. Batra is a great villain and Mothra is awesome as usual. Monsters change sides, monsters knock over Ferris wheels, I love it.
ゴジラの熱線が鱗粉で反射されてる。
モスラの最後の武器です。
And yes, I realize that you can see the strings in a couple scenes. I don't care! My score is 3.5 out of 5. Next up, number 19 is Godzilla vs. Gigan. This is a pretty typical Godzilla vs. movie in most regards, but this time he teams up with someone other than Mothra, so that's something. Anguirus is back, chronologically for the first time since Godzilla Raids Again, and he's pretty badass. Gigan is a highly impractical, but very cool-looking villain. Seriously, he has no hands and a belly saw. How does he do anything besides fight? Anyway, the 2-on-2 fight of Big G and Anguirus versus King Ghidorah and Gigan is great. The human drama is at least interesting enough to not be annoying, and Corn Hippie, I forget his real name, is one of the best characters in any Godzilla movie. My score is 3.6 out of 5. Number 18 is Invasion of Astro Monster, aka Monster Zero. This is one of the more plot-driven Godzilla movies, and I think it works. The pacing is good, the action and the acting are great, and the human characters actually feel like fleshed out and developed characters for once. I also love Big G and Rodan's victory dance. My score is 3.7 out of 5. Number 17 is The Return of Godzilla. The rubber suit isn't much better than it was in the original series, but otherwise this is a solid Godzilla movie. The action is great, and it brings back the horror that the original had. The acting is solid, and the music is great too. My score is 3.8 out of 5. Number 16 is Godzilla Tokyo SOS. This is the only actual sequel from the Millennium era, which I find kind of hilarious. And it brought back Mothra and made her solo movie officially canon, which automatically makes it awesome. The fights are top-notch, the plot is solid, and I love the ending. A score is 3.85 out of 5. Number 15 is Godzilla vs. Kong. To all the people who complain that the first 3 movies in the MonsterVerse focus too much on human characters, I hope you're happy, because you're not allowed to complain anymore. But the humans, new and returning, are so thinly written that they feel more like plot devices than actual characters. Alexander Skarsgård is the only actor whose character gets something even close to an arc. That being said, this is a deeply satisfying payoff to the 3-movie build-up we've had. Ben Sarazin's cinematography is fluid and dynamic, and Junkie XL's score is great, although it does pale in comparison to Bear McCreary's work in the previous film. The VFX are probably the best we've seen so far. The action is excellent, and the Hong Kong battle is probably the best action scene in the entire MonsterVerse so far. Finally, this has one of the best incarnations of Mechagodzilla to date. My score is 3.9 out of 5. Number 14 is King Kong vs. Godzilla. This was probably the biggest crossover of its era, and it mostly lived up to the hype. The monster suits are not great, but the action is solid and the human characters are very fun to watch. The titular fights are a lot of fun, and I love that they level the playing field by giving Kong electrical powers. Also, I will never not smile at the shot of Kong being carried by balloons. It's just so adorable. My score is 3.95 out of 5. Lucky 13 is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. This one gave us Fire Rodan. Enough said.
Radon is still alive.
My score is 4 out of 5. My number 12 is Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Like its sequel, this one has some of the best action in the franchise. Mechagodzilla is dope, Big G looks great, and the human characters, at least the protagonist, actually feels like a real person, and she actually has an arc, even if it's a little generic. My score is 4.05 out of 5. Number 11 is Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. Damn, that's a mouthful. One take. This is a pretty unique one. We get pure evil Godzilla, heroic Ghidorah not under mind control, and Mothra, always the hero, siding with Ghidorah for once. Neat stuff. My score is 4.1 out of 5. Finally, on to the top 10. My number 10 is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This is one of the most entertaining movies in the franchise. Not necessarily the most, but it's up there. The monsters have never looked better. Mothra is gorgeous. Rodan is badass. King Ghidorah is terrifying, and Big G is just awesome. A lot of people complain that this movie focused too much on the underdeveloped human characters and not enough on the monsters. And to that I say, is this your first Godzilla movie? Because they're all like that. Welcome to the franchise, motherfuckers. But also, what are you talking about? The human characters in this movie actually get development. The leads actually have character arcs. I mean, yeah, they're not the best, but it's not like the characters in most of the movies where they're just there to move the plot along. Anyway, the action is great, the acting is good, and Bear McCreary's musical score is just dope. My score is 4.15 out of 5. Number 9 is Godzilla 2014. This movie is beautiful. Seriously, that skydiving scene is just breathtaking. and I love that the music in that score reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I actually don't mind the lack of action, because that's just more build-up for the final battle, and the final battle is epic. Seriously, Godzilla spitting atomic breath down a Muto's throat is one of the greatest moments in cinematic history. Fight me. My score is 4.2 out of 5. Number 8 is Mothra vs. Godzilla. An oldie but a goodie. The original face-off between the king and queen of the monsters is still the best. The acting is great, the action is better, and the music is awesome. My score is 4.25 out of 5. Number 7 is Godzilla vs. Biollante. But Biollante is definitely the most unique Godzilla villain, and she's one of the many reasons this movie works so well. The human drama is some of the best in the franchise, the action is great, and the monsters look awesome. My score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 6 is Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. This movie has some of the best action in the original timeline, backed up by some... Well, okay, the human drama isn't the best, but it's fine. It's good enough. Big G, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah all look great, and the fights are awesome. My score is 4.75 out of 5. Number 5 is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. King Caesar really helps this movie stand out from the rest. He's such a unique monster. He's kind of an ape, but not like Kong, and he can redirect energy attacks through his eyes. Awesome. Great monsters, great action, great music. My score is 4.8 out of 5. Number 4 is the original Godzilla. This one is actually a pretty scary monster movie. The tension is great and the mystery is intriguing. I mean, yeah, we all know what's coming, but if you look at it from the perspective of audiences in 1954 who had never seen it before and had no knowledge of it, there's some awesome mystery. And this is a great example of how to wait until a while into your movie to have your monster show up, but still have it work. The acting is great, and the action scenes are very well done. What else is there to say? This movie is a classic for a reason. My score is 4.85 out of 5. My number 3 is Destroy All Monsters. This is just a classic Godzilla movie. Evil aliens mind-controlling a bunch of monsters to attack, humanity freeing those monsters, King Ghidorah showing up. Classic.
King Ghidorah. 宇宙怪獣キングギドラです。上空から地球の怪獣を狙っております。待ち構えるゴジラたち。
action is great, the music is great, the movie as a whole is just great. My score is 4.9 out of 5. Number 2 is Godzilla vs. Destroya. I seem to keep repeating myself, but whatever. This one is special. Godzilla is a ticking time bomb on the verge of a radioactive meltdown. Meanwhile, a new monster shows up for him to fight. This is the one where Big G actually dies, and oh my god, it's actually kind of heartbreaking. My score is 4.95 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Shin Godzilla. This movie is a masterpiece. This is the first time a Japanese Godzilla has ever been portrayed solely by CGI, and he looks great. This is definitely the scariest Godzilla design to date. Best of all, this movie is also a political satire, poking fun at all the bureaucratic red tape the Japanese government, and governments in general, have to cut through in order to get shit done. This movie has the best human drama in the franchise, and once you figure out who everyone is, you genuinely care about what happens to them. The action scenes are outstanding. Like in the Monsterverse, the CG monster allows for these low-angle shots that just makes the monster look and feel huge. Something that most of the classic Godzilla movies were lacking. The musical score is one of the best of the franchise, especially the operatic vocals when the B-2 bombers attack. My score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, let me know what you think. What's your ranking? Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, subscribe anyway so you can tell me how bad my other stuff is. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.